We're going to start by sitting cross-legged with our eyes closed and our hands on our knees, palms face up. We'll start with a couple of collective breaths, inhaling through our nose, exhaling through our mouth. One more time, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Continue breathing on your own, in through the nose and out through the nose. We'll bring our shoulders up to our ears and back. A couple more times, bringing your shoulders up to the ears and back down. One last time, bringing the shoulders forward and up to the ears and back down. We'll start by doing some head rolls. Take chin to chest and taking your head over to one side and continuing in a complete circle, stopping wherever it feels good to you. Once you're done with one side, taking it to the other direction. Then we'll find stillness again, open your eyes, and we'll start activating the upper body by taking it forward and back, chin to chest, moving forward and back, taking this in your own time and taking it the other direction when you're ready. Finding stillness again, we'll take our right hand and we'll place it behind us on the ground, taking your left hand on your knee and slowly looking over that right shoulder and breathing into this twist, accepting where you are right now and not pushing that twist too hard. Taking it back to center, this time taking your left hand behind you and your right hand on your knee into a twist. Looking gently over that left shoulder and just breathing here. Coming back to center, we'll get into our wide-legged child's pose. So the knees will come the width of the mat, reach both arms forward and letting your forehead and your nose drop to the floor. The wider your knees are, the deeper the stretch in the hips. But coming back to your own breath here. Breathing in and out through your nose. We'll walk our hands over to the right side. If you want a deeper stretch, that left hand can come on top of the right. Walking your hands back through center and over to the other side now. And again, if you want that deeper stretch, placing your right hand on top of your left hand. And breathing in, getting a nice stretch in that right side body. Coming back to center, we'll push our way up to tabletop position with our wrists under our shoulders and our knees under our hips. On an inhale, we'll look up. Exhale, chin to chest. On an inhale, looking up. And on an exhale, chin to chest. Do this on your own breath a couple more times. You can take your hips from side to side. And to find more movement, you can take your hips back to your heels and make circles, doing half circles on either side, whatever feels good to you right now. Coming back into tabletop, we'll activate our belly by hovering our knees a couple inches, making sure our neck is long here and looking down at the ground. Releasing our knees back down. Preparing one more time, pushing into the tops of our feet and hovering again. And dropping our knees back down. We'll stretch out those wrists. You can turn your hand the opposite direction and lean back slightly. Doing that on the right wrist and the left wrist. Just giving them some love here. Taking your left hand, planting it in the middle of your mat, taking your right arm up, and then weaving it under so that you're coming onto your right ear and your right shoulder. And continuing to breathe here. Pushing back up and extending that arm again and placing it down. We'll take it to the other side. Taking that left arm up this time, weaving it under, and taking our left ear and left shoulder onto the mat. And you can extend that top arm if that feels good to you. You can also take it behind your back to open up your chest more. Pushing back, extend that arm again, planting it back down. We'll take that right arm forward like you're shaking someone's hand, and your left leg goes back. Extending. And then we'll bring it in, knee to elbow. Extend it back. Taking a couple more times. Knee to nose. Extend. Knee to nose. Extend, knee to nose, extend. One more time, knee to nose, extend, pulling in opposite direction and placing it back down. We'll take it on the other side. Left hand comes forward, right leg back. Again, extending in opposite direction, knee to nose, extend, knee to nose, extend, knee to nose, extend, knee to nose, and extend. One more time, knee to nose, extend, place your hand and knee back down. Taking your hands to the top of your mat, tucking your toes and coming up into your first downward facing dog. Pedaling your knees out here. Finding what feels good. Taking your heels over to one side and to the other side. Coming back to the middle. Bending your knees generously. And coming to stillness. We'll slowly tiptoe our way all the way up to the top of the mat, coming onto our fingertips here, our feet hip distance apart, taking your head all the way down, going into ragdoll position by holding on to opposite elbows here, and swaying from side to side if that feels good to you. And again, bending your knees generously here. And we'll slowly make our way all the way up to mountain pose, vertebrae by vertebrae. Here in mountain pose, palms face open. Take it all the way up, arms all the way up overhead. And prayer position, take it all the way down, forward fold, halfway lift, flat back. Back down, hands plant to the ground, stepping back into our plank position, coming forward and back, and then slowly going all the way down, hugging your elbows to your chest. Keeping your hands by your shoulders, you're going to lift up, hovering your hands, keeping your neck long here, coming back down, forehead to the floor. One more time, pushing up, putting a lot of weight into the tops of your feet here, not into your hands. Back down. Pushing back up into plank and into our downward facing dog. Pedaling it out here again if that feels good. Bending our knees generously, looking up, and stepping up to the top of our mat. Forward fold. Halfway lift to flat back. Forward fold, taking arms all the way overhead, hands come to heart center and fold all the way down the middle. Halfway lift, half flat back, and step it back to plank. Leaning forward here, coming down, you can do your full chaturanga to upward facing dog, and taking it back down to downward facing dog. Looking up, maybe you jump this time to the top of your mat, forward fold, halfway lift to a flat back, forward fold, head drops, taking those arms overhead, prayer position, and folding down the midline. Halfway lift, flat back, and folding, maybe jumping back to plank, going through your chaturanga, upward facing dog, and coming into your child's pose here, your knees together, and your arms can either be extended or you can bend your elbows and prayer hands behind your neck. Just recentering here and breathing, getting ready for our next flow. Pushing up, tucking your toes into downward dog. Looking up, step or hop to the top of your mat. Forward fold, halfway lift, forward fold. And again, slowly making your way up to mountain pose. Roll your shoulders a couple times, forward and back down. Taking your big toes together, get into our chair position. Slight sliver between your heels, pushing your knees together, making sure you can still see your toes. If not, put more weight in the back of your heels. Hands come to heart center. We're going to hook that elbow onto that right knee into our chair twist. You can extend those arms if you'd like. Forward fold, halfway lift, flat back, forward fold. Coming back into chair again, arms extend overhead. Looking down, make sure your toes are still visible. Hands come to heart center and twist to the other side. Hook that elbow onto the left knee this time. And if you did it on the other side, extend your arms. Forward fold, halfway lift to flat back. Forward fold, plant your hands, step back to plank, go through your vinyasa flow here. Upward facing dog and downward facing dog. And you can always skip that flow and go to downward dog. Right leg comes up, knee to nose, plant it between your hands, pivot that back foot, keep that front knee bent, come up to warrior one. Looking up to the sky here, clasping those hands behind your back, going into our humble warrior, bending all the way over onto the inside of that thigh. Just breathing in. Coming back up. Plant those hands, frame that foot, take it back to plank, go through your flow, to upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. We'll take it on the other side now. Left leg coming up, knee to nose, and plant it. Pivot that back leg, coming up into your warrior one, making sure your hips are facing the front and looking up. Clasp those hands behind you and making your way into humble warrior again, folding all the way over. Taking those arms overhead again, framing that foot, going into your plank, go through your flow or meet us in downward facing dog. Going on to a new flow here. Take that right leg up, knee to nose, then plant that foot between your hands, rocking forward and back. Plant that left hand, take that right arm up into a twist, looking up at the sky. Plant it back down, getting ready for our high lunge. Bending generously into that front leg, looking up to the sky, cactus those arms, taking it back up, cactus the arms again, taking the arms back up, we'll go into a twist, left arm comes in front, right arm behind, looking beyond those right fingers, taking it back up again, planting those hands, take it to your plank, Chaturanga, upward facing dog, to downward facing dog. Good job. Did one side, let's do the next. Taking that left leg up, knee to nose, plant that foot, getting ready for our twist here. Plant that right hand, left arm goes up, looking at that left hand. Hand plants back down, preparing for your high lunge, coming up. Looking up and come into cactus arms here. One more time, coming up, and bend those elbows into cactus arms. Taking it up, we'll do our twist here. So right arm in front, left arm in back, looking over at that left hand. Taking arms up, planting your hands, going into plank and your vinyasa, or you can meet us into child's pose this time. You can keep your knees wide or together, extending your arms in front of you, and just breathing here, preparing for our last flow. Coming up into tabletop, tucking those toes into downward facing dog. Right leg comes up. Knee to nose, hold and plant. Pivot that back foot, come up to your warrior two. Have a generous bend in that front knee, looking over the tips of your front hand. Reverse warrior, lean forward, up and back. You can put your hand, take it around behind your back onto your thigh, or keep it on that back leg. Warrior two again. Extended side angle, lean forward, take that arm overhead, and you can keep that elbow on your thigh. Just don't dump into that knee. Keep your chest open. Coming back to warrior two, you're going to straighten that front leg, lean forward, tick-tock those arms to 12 and 6 into your pyramid posture. If you'd like, you can take that hand behind your calf on the other side, and don't feel like you have to reach all the way down. Back to warrior two. Windmill those arms back into plank. Go through your flow here, or meet us back into downward dog to take it on the other side. You can pedal out those legs again if that feels good. Taking that left leg up now. Knee to nose, hold, and place it between your hands. Pivot that back foot into your warrior two. Strong stance here, looking over the tips of your fingers of the front hand, and reverse that warrior. Up and back, keeping that back hand on your leg or taking it around your back. Back to warrior two. Extended side angle, lean forward. Take that arm overhead. Back to warrior two. Straighten that leg now. Get into our pyramid pose. Lean forward and tick-tock those arms to 12 and 6. Looking up at that hand. Shortening your stance too, if that is good. Back to warrior two. Bend that front knee. Windmill those arms back to plant into our plank. Go through your flow here, or meet us into downward facing dog. Very good. We're going to go through that one more time, matching breath to movement. So a little bit faster. Right leg up, plant it, coming into your warrior two, bend that front knee generously, reverse your warrior, extended side angle, Back to warrior two. Straighten that leg into pyramid. Back to warrior two. Windmill those arms to plank. Go through your flow or straight to downward dog. Other side this time. Left leg goes up. Coming through into our warrior two. Reverse your warrior. Extended side angle. Back to warrior two. Straighten that front leg into our pyramid. Back to warrior two. Step up to the top of our mat. Take your right leg back. And we'll get ready for our wide-legged forward fold. Toes slightly inward, hands on your hips. Slowly fold all the way down. Releasing your hands from your hips, placing them down. Halfway lift, flat back. Forward fold all the way down. Plant that left hand, take that right arm all the way up into a twist. Taking it back down, plant that hand, take the other arm up to the sky, looking at that hand up in the air. Taking it back down, maybe you bend one knee and then the other, finding whatever movement feels good to you right here. We'll get into our goddess pose, so take those feet in a little bit, but toes are facing out. Cactus those arms. You can also take your hands to heart center here. Taking your hands to your thighs, we'll do some shoulder dips, taking one shoulder down, then the other, just alternating between both sides. Okay, we'll walk in our feet a little bit more, getting into our low squat, finding some movement here, rocking back and forth. And then finding stillness here. Hands can come to heart center. And pushing your elbows into your knees for more of a hip opener here. We'll get into our crow pose here. So take your feet the width of your mat. Your hands are placed down. Your fingers are spread wide apart. Coming onto your toes and taking your knees as far up your arm as possible, all the way up to the armpit. And you can just take one foot up at a time. And when you are ready, you can take flight and take both of your feet off. So just play around here and just accepting yourself as to where you are. It takes a while to get this pose, and so being patient with yourself and just having fun and laughing at yourself if you fall and just trying again. After you're done playing around, we'll do some standing poses here. So coming to the top of your mat, putting your weight into your left foot, taking up your foot into tree pose. You can place your foot on your shin or taking it up to the inner thigh. And your hands can come to heart center, or they can come up overhead. And you can also take your glance overhead as well. You can also take your hands into prayer position right above your head. So take whatever hand variation works for you. Coming back down, shaking it out, we'll try it on the other side. So putting your weight now into that right leg, left leg comes up, again onto the shin or above the knee, just making sure that it's never placed right on that knee. So again, you can do whatever hand variation you want here. Prayer position in front of your heart, looking straight ahead, or taking it overhead. And breathing here too while you're in this pose. Sometimes we forget to breathe when we're in these balancing postures. Shaking it out, we'll do another standing posture. This is figure 4. So taking that right ankle onto that left thigh and slowly lowering down, keeping that left knee bent generously. And if you want a deeper stretch, you can reach all the way down to the floor, and you can start straightening that standing leg and dropping your head all the way down. Slowly coming up. And placing that right foot down. We'll take it on the other side. Left foot comes over onto that right thigh. Hands come to heart center and slowly lowering down. Getting your elbows all the way to your heel and your knee, and then taking it all the way down if you want that deeper stretch. Slowly straightening that right leg. And then coming back up. Hands to heart center. Taking that foot down, shaking it out. And sweeping your arms overhead. Hands to heart center and folding forward. Halfway lift to flat back. Planting those hands and stepping to plank, and go through your flow here to upward facing dog and downward facing dog. Finding stillness, and then sweeping your right leg up, taking it through and placing it on the outside of your right hand into our lizard pose. You can stay here, rocking forward and back. You can also place your knee down, untucking your foot. You can push out that knee and getting your foot on that diagonal. Your foot and your knee are going the same direction. Again, you can stay here, staying upright. Or for a deeper stretch, you can place your forearms down to the ground. I place my palms face up here. And just breathing into this posture. It's a good hip opener stretch, but can be a difficult and uncomfortable position. So just breathing through it here. And if at any time you need to come off of your forearms, you can do that. But all together, we'll push it back up, taking that right leg up to your three-legged dog and placing it back down. Take it to the other side, left leg up, taking it to the outside of that left hand. And again, you can stay here, rocking forward and back, or finding stillness, or placing that knee down, untucking that foot, maybe pushing out that knee and that foot on that diagonal, staying here if you'd like, or taking it down to your forearms again. but not pushing yourself too hard in this because it is a deep hip opening stretch. So just finding stillness here and breathing through it. Pushing back up onto your hands, untucking your toes, sweeping your leg back up to the three-legged dog and placing it down, walking it out a little bit. Sweeping that right leg up, taking that knee to your right wrist and placing it down, looking back, making sure that leg behind is straight, taking it up first in an upright position on your fingertips, and then slowly folding over, maybe placing your forehead onto your mat. And remembering to breathe through this pose. Just like lizard, this is an uncomfortable position, and breathing here helps you through it. Pushing yourself back up now. Untucking those toes, sweeping your right leg up. Maybe making some circles here with your knee bent. Going in full circles, maybe going the other direction. And then placing that foot down. Coming into plank. We'll go through a flow if you'd like, or you can go back to your downward facing dog. We'll take it on the other side. Your left leg sweeps up, taking it through, taking your knee to that left wrist, walking your hands back a little bit, going onto your fingertips. Again, looking back, making sure that leg is straight. And then slowly folding over. Maybe you can go further down on this side. Both sides tend to be different. But just accepting where you are right now and breathing through this pose. Coming up here, this time we're going to swing our right leg around, keeping our left leg bent. Taking our arms overhead and folding over that straight leg. I like to bend my knee generously here. Just meeting yourself where you are today. Your hands don't have to be touching your foot. It can be on your calf. It can even be on your thigh. Okay, we'll take it to the other side. So bend that right knee, straighten that left leg. Taking the arms overhead and folding over that straight leg. Can bend your knee again as generously as you want. Taking it up, bending both knees. They're facing the sky, holding onto the backs of your thighs here, and slowly rolling down until you reach the floor. Taking both knees in and taking it side to side, or making full circles with those knees. Taking it in one direction, then the other, and placing your feet back down. We'll set up for our bridge pose here. Arms go by your side, and your fingertips will graze the back of your heel. Slowly raise your hips up. Maybe walk your shoulder blades under, clasping your hands if you'd like. Continuing to push up and squeeze your knees in. We'll just do one bridge pose, so make this count. Keep pushing. And then slowly release all the way down. Taking windshield wiper legs here, so taking your knees from side to side. Get into our happy baby pose, so grabbing the outsides of your feet. Maybe finding stillness here, or you can sway from side to side, having some fun here. Pushing those knees towards the ground. Maybe straightening one leg, and then the other. Releasing and hugging your knees in. We'll get into a tight ball here. Nose to your knees. Extending that left leg, keeping that right knee in. We'll scooch over to the right side and taking that knee over to the left side. Extending that right arm and looking over to your right hand into our supine twist. This is one of my favorite poses. Okay, taking it to the other side, straightening that right leg, bending that left knee, hugging it in, scooting over to the left side and taking that knee over to the right side, extending that left arm and looking over to your left hand. And your other hand can either be extended as well, or you can place it on the top of your knee. Just enjoying this pose and this stretch. You'll hug your knees in again, your nose to your knees, tight squeeze, and then slowly release, taking both legs long here, extending your arms by your side. Your palms are face up. You close your eyes and let everything relax. Before I leave you for Savasana, I want to share this quote with you from Caroline Adams. Your life is a sacred journey. It is about change, growth, discovery, movement, transformation, continuously expanding your vision of what is possible, stretching your soul, learning to see clearly and deeply, listening to your intuition, taking courageous challenges at every step along the way. You are on the path, exactly where you are meant to be right now. And from here, you can only go forward, shaping your life story into a magnificent tale of triumph, of healing, of courage, of beauty, of wisdom, of power, of dignity, and of love. Reawakening your body here, we'll find some movement in our wrists and fingers, our ankles and toes, finding yourself into a fetal position on either side, extending that top arm to use as a pillow, and your other hand in front of you. Still closing our eyes here. Pushing yourself up to a seat with your eyes closed, sitting cross-legged just like we started class, with your hands on your knees, palms face up. We'll take a couple of collective breaths together, just like we started, breathing in through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Breathe in through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Hands come to prayer position in front of your heart. Hands coming to forehead, reminding you to have loving thoughts. Hands come to your mouth, reminding you to have loving communication. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste.